Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam yena bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadate Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namo. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasadi Gaura. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So we have entered the rainy season in Mumbai, and it's welcome for some and not so welcome for others who have other things to do. But still, it's the most welcoming thing after a hot summer. So I thought for this afternoon's talk, I would like to discuss a few verses from the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. One particular chapter entitled The Rainy Season and Autumn in Vrindavan. As you are aware, in the Indian calendar, consisting of 12 months, has 6 seasons. And approximately, say, February, March is Vasant Ritu, 6 Ritus. Vasant Ritu is one of the most pleasing. Everything is just blossoming and beautiful environment. And then, approximately say April, May, it is Grishma Ritu, the summer. You don't get to see all these seasons in all the other parts of the world. Generally only one season, and in between there is another one, little bit of summer, otherwise it's long winter. But being in the tropical region, we have the opulence of 6 seasons. So then there is intense heat. And immediately after that, it is followed by Varsha Ritu, which is what we are facing now. We are experiencing now, relishing, hopefully. That's for about 2 seasons, June and July. Then there is Sharad Ritu, where it has, after profuse rains, and this water is generally muddy because it has washed, from the mountains it comes and things like that. But it's more settling down. The mud is settling down and things become more clearer. And that's like August and September. Very pleasant season to visit some places like Lonavala. Beautiful season. Everything is green and pleasant and cool. So that is Sharad. And after Sharad, say from October, November, is Hemant Ritu, beginning of winter. More pleasant, and that's the time we also have our Damodar Ashtakam. So, and then the next 2 months, that's like December and January, is the Shishira Ritu, which is extremely cold, irrespective of where you are. And all these seasons, Krishna would have amazing pastimes. And Shukadeva Goswami, very beautifully, in between Krishna Leela, introduces the rainy and the autumn season in Vrindavan. And the amazing thing about this particular chapter, consisting about 40 verses, above 40 verses, approximately 40 odd verses, is very beautifully giving powerful lessons on the absolute truth from these seasons. Now, generally, depending upon our consciousness, we see things. We may see the same thing. We may see a same object. We may see a same event. But depending upon our previous understanding, conceptions, experiences, knowledge, we perceive it differently. A beautiful woman is walking by. Different people see differently. A young man may see that woman as an object of sense gratification and become very excited. That woman's little child may see the same woman and have vatsalya ras, motherly feeling. An old man may see and say, have another type of vatsalya ras. And a tiger may see her as a lunchbox. So the woman is the same, but depending upon different people's consciousness and experience and knowledge, they see differently. So Shukadeva Goswami, who is completely Yomam Pashyati Sarvatra Sarvam Chamayim, one who sees Krishna everywhere and sees everything in Krishna. When such exalted personalities, pure who have love for Krishna, who know Krishna as the absolute truth, who have realized Krishna, when they see anything and everything from every element of creation, powerful lessons, which is very, very important for us to understand in our journey for self-realization. It helps us. From every situation, from every object, from every interaction, we can learn. Like the Avadhut Brahman in the 7th canto. Or later in the 11th canto, another Avadhut. He said, I have many gurus. Different people taught me so many wonderful lessons in my journey to perfection. So similarly, in these few verses, I'll try to discuss just a few verses. But just see how, when the same kind of a season is seen by a personality like Shukadeva Goswami, what an amazing lesson he extracts. This is also very important because when Srila Prabhupada was living in Vrindavan in 1961, there was an invitation that came from Japan for a congress. They're inviting people from all over the world, congress for cultivating human spirit. And Srila Prabhupada decided to attend that conference. And this is, since it's an oriental country, Japan, he was thinking what to present, what to speak on this congress. And then he decided to speak on this particular chapter. Because being an oriental country, they are exposed to all the seasons. Especially rainy season, they actually worship. Very, very important season, life-giving season, especially after a hot summer. And therefore they value that, adore that, venerate. And therefore he decided to present, and all these 48 or 40 or so odd verses, he wrote small purports. And he sent it to them. And he asked, he said, get some good painter from Oriental, your own place, country, and ask that person to paint each of these verses into a picture. Interestingly, these paintings that you see here, none of these are mentally concocted paintings. All these are very specific pastimes that are described. There is a verse that describes this. This particular thing, Krishna and Balaram returning back from cowherd grazing. There is a beautiful verse that describes how they are standing, how they are playing on the flute, how the cows are coming, how people are watching. Or the Jhulan pastime, or Govardhan Leela. Every pastime, or Krishna blocking when the gopis go with the... So none of this is a imaginary thing. It's all a beautiful verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Similarly, these are Chaitanya Charitamrita pastimes. You know, if you sing that Gaur Arati, that is there. Kiba Jaya Jaya Gaura Chandre Arati Kashobha Janavi Tata Vane Jagama. Dakshine Nitai Chand. On his right is Nitai Chand. Bame Gadadhar. Nikate Advaita Srinivasa Chhatradhar, holding the umbrella. Bosiya Che Gaura Chand Ratna Singhasane. Arati Karena Brahma Adi Devagane. Brahmaji is there. Shiva Shuka Narada Preme Gadagad. There is Lord Shiva, Shukadeva Goswami, another bluish personality. Shiva Shuka Narada holding that veena. So all these paintings are actually windows to the spiritual world, as Prabhupada called them. They are windows to the spiritual world. Don't think they are painting, they are not walls. If you have proper eyes, right from this temple, you think that these are windows. And you are peeping into the spiritual world. Can you imagine? You get access. Because all of these are verses as was seen by exalted personalities and described, and that is being painted. So actually you are peeping outside the window into the realm of pure spirit. So in this way, Srila Prabhupada also wanted somebody, some painter from their country, to put this, and he wanted it to be put everywhere during the conference. Can you imagine? So that throughout the conference, preaching is going on like that. Unfortunately, for some reason, he couldn't go. And this commentaries were lying with BBT for a long time. And after a few years, after Prabhupada's departure, they asked one very, very famous old lady, Oriental painter from Japan. She was asked to make a proper picture depending on the description of the verses. And she did it. And BBT brought out as a beautiful book. This is called The Light of the Bhagavad. Very beautiful book. One particular 20th chapter of the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, with purports of Srila Prabhupada to any audience, to a secular. While preaching, sometimes devotees have this difficulty. While preaching, how to speak, how to strike a chord with somebody, how to connect. Because you may be speaking from a different angle or different perspective, different platform. They may be on a different platform. They may not see what you are seeing. So you have to connect with something that is common. And something that is common for everyone is nature. Everyone experiences that nature. Wherever you are in Bombay, you see the same cloud, the same sun, the same wind, etc. So he took this as a wonderful opportunity to actually speak to the whole world about the Bhagavatam, the light of the Bhagavad, coming through these verses, describing the amazing nature. Whose nature? It's God's nature, Krishna's nature. Actually, if you have the eyes, every element of creation is preaching the message of the Lord. But we have to have the eyes to see. So, I would like to begin this description and briefly discuss how Shukadeva Goswami draws a lesson. This is text 3. After, of course, this is very interesting. The first verse, Shukadeva Goswami said, to the ladies of Vrindavan, the cowherd boys then related in full detail Krishna and Balaram's wonderful activities of delivering them from the forest fire and killing the demon Pralamba. Every day, the cowherd boys would come and tell different stories. What Krishna did today, what Krishna did the other day. And this day, when they came, Krishna had killed Pralamba demon and devoured the forest fire. A huge forest fire. He just devoured. He just asked them to close their eyes and he devoured. Why he asked them to close their eyes? Because otherwise they'll go and say, क्या खाया उसने? मिट्टी खाया तो इतना हैरान हो गई माता जी. आग खा लिया. She will faint. इसलिए told the cowherd boys, close your eyes. All of them closed and Krishna just sucked in the whole forest fire. Otherwise they would be burnt, roasted alive. And so therefore Krishna did that. But probably some boys saw. And they came and started speaking to all the ladies of Vrindavan. And then when the ladies heard, obviously they told their husbands. And there was an important meeting held in Vrindavan. The elder cowherd men and ladies were amazed to hear this account, and they concluded that Krishna and Balaram must be exalted demigods who had appeared in Vrindavan. कोई ऊपर से उतरे हैं हमारे बीच. Somebody must have descended. They couldn't imagine that Narayan supreme होगा थोड़ा कोई. That's all. Because of their love. When you love so much somebody, that their Aishwarya, their exalted nature is, covered. When you love someone. I remember many years ago, Prafulla Kumar Mahanta, one of the youngest chief ministers of Assam, I think. When I was in college or school or something, I used to watch TV. And then this person became the youngest chief minister, very young age. And he was interviewed. And the interview, after he became the chief minister, was it at his home. And he was sitting between his parents. The proud parents were sitting, and young Prafulla Kumar is sitting. And the interview was going on, and suddenly the mother, Chief Minister! And she's whole day came in, yeah, hamara Praful karta hai sir. For her, it is our little Praful, Ningta Pacho. He is the same Praful, Chief Minister, कुछ भी हो, अपना Praful है. खाता नहीं है इसको, ठीक से खाने को बोलो इसको ठीक से. Anytime mothers come and meet me, इसको बोलो, जब करने को बोलो, 2 माला तो कम से कम करना. Nice person. So that is a mother. So irrespective of who they are, the Brijavasis' love for Krishna was so much. They didn't care who he was, God or no God, who cares? But we love Krishna as he is. And so therefore they thought, okay, ठीक है, इतना बड़ा काम किया, बड़े बड़े असुरों को मार दिया, कोई देवता होगा, अच्छे योनि में वहां से आया हुआ है. That's all. And then Shukadeva Goswami said, then the rainy season began, giving life and sustenance to all living beings. The sky began to rumble with thunder, and lightning flashed in the horizon. Such a beautiful sight. After you're sweating out in the summer, you desperately wait for and rumbling of the thunder and the lightning bolts. It's so pleasing. It's actually like a person who is about to die in a desert suddenly sees water. So much life-giving. So it was like that. The clouds were like relief. That's why the peacocks start dancing, when they see the cloud. They know what's coming. And then, in the next verse, he sees the same thing. We also see. We go outside and see the cloud. बारिश आने वाला है, ट्रेन रुकने वाला है. This is the मुल्ला की दौड़ मस्जिद तक. That's what we see. Cloud means हो गया, अभी problem होगा. And children, cloud, fun. Office goers, अच्छा छुट्टी मिल गया 2 घंटा पहले. So you see the same thing, but when Shukadeva Goswami sees, what does he see? He says, Sandra Nilam Budair Vyoma Savidyut Stanayut Bhihi Aspashta Jyotir Achannam Brahmavema Sagunam Babhav. What an understanding. The sky was then covered by dense blue clouds, accompanied by lightning and thunder. Thus, the sky and its natural illumination were covered in the same way that the spirit soul is covered by the 3 modes of material nature. Have you ever thought about it like that? The sky, the blue, clear sky, is compared to the supreme absolute truth, Param Brahma. And the covered sky, the limited sky that is covered in some region where the clouds come, that part of the sky is compared to the Jiva Brahma. And the cloud is compared to the mode of ignorance. The thunder is compared to the mode of passion. And the lightning is compared to the mode of goodness. But they are covering the sky. Now, the clouds can never cover the whole sky. Impossible. Because the sky is too huge. Clouds are just, cover some patch. Similarly, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Supreme Brahman, Parabrahma, can never be covered, as beautifully discussed this morning by Shyamananda Prabhu. That can never cover. Krishna can never be influenced by the three modes of nature. But we, the living entities, we are very tiny. We are equal. We are equal to Krishna in quality, but very insignificant in quantity. And therefore, we could easily be covered by the three modes of nature. And why is the cloud compared to the mode of ignorance? Because the cloud covers the sky. You can't see the sky at all. So when a soul assumes the body, nobody can see the soul. That's why people don't believe in the soul. किधर है आत्मा? दिखाओ. अरे दिखा निकाल दिया तो तू नहीं देखने के लिए रहेगा. So they can't see because it is covered over. So the mode of ignorance is compared to a dark cloud. There are 5 types of ignorance. In Mahabharata it is very beautifully described. There are 5 types of ignorance. So this is a test whether you are in ignorance or not. You don't have to raise your hands. You can estimate yourself. And I'm not going to ask. First, a person starts thinking that I am the body. That is the first sign of ignorance. Thinking the body to be the self. तो कौन है? मैं रमेश, मैं सुरेश हूँ, मैं दिनेश हूँ. Means I am this body. No idea. A dead body and a living body is the same. But why is he not walking, talking? That means the soul is there. That is not seen. It's a basic philosophy. In fact, it is the ABC of philosophy. But it's such a simple thing, but we just don't understand. Actually, the soul is clear like the blue sky, effulgent sky. But the cloud, once it covers, you just can't see the sky. You start thinking, I'm the body. It's very difficult to even think. Sometimes even IIT we visit, and sometimes we start to talking with devotees. Many years ago I had gone with another devotee. At 2:30 at night, started at 8 p.m. because by the time, that's the time they come. That's the time they're fresh. Their day starts after that. So 8 p.m. it started, and the program went on till 2:30, convincing the person there is a soul. And he is intellectually arguing how the soul is not there. Then what is it? How is it? No, it's metabolism of the cells, that's all. It's so deep rooted that I'm not the soul, I'm the body. So thinking the body to be the self is the first. And naturally, if you think you're the body and the goal of life is to enjoy, body means the senses. Basically, you experience life through the senses. The working senses and the karmendriyas and the jnanendriyas. And therefore, the second principle of ignorance is immediately you start thinking the goal of life is to enjoy, eat, drink and be happy. Ranam kritva ghratam pivet yavat jivet sukham jivet. Beg, borrow or steal, but live life king size. Enjoy. Naturally, because if the body, you have to enjoy. So sense gratifying, the mere gratifying of the senses becomes the ultimate goal of life. This is the second principle of ignorance. Third, as soon as you think you're the body, by default, you are in tremendous anxiety. You know why? Prahlad Maharaj tells Hiranyakashipu straight on the face, Papa, तूने पूरा दुनिया जीत लिया, पर सदा समुद्विग्न धियाम असद्ग्रहात. Because the nature of the soul is such chit ananda, eternal, full of knowledge and blissful. Therefore, if you think you're the body, you want to make the body eternal. And as soon as you look into the mirror and you see gray hair, anxiety. As soon as you see some, face, or somebody calls you uncle and auntie, chacha, thoda side mein ho jao. Recently, few years back, I went home and my niece got her son. Said, look, grandpa has come. Grandpa. Very difficult to digest for the false ego which thinks I'm 16-year-old still. So anxiety, because you don't want something is going to be imposed upon us. And same thing sometimes doesn't give happiness, and therefore you have to keep on. So that is the third part, anxiety. And lamentation. अरे ये चला जा रहा है, वो चला जा रहा है, ये नहीं रह रहा है, ये टिकता नहीं है, वो चला जाएगा. Something, whatever. Because nothing is our control. We think things should be exactly as we want it to be. People should behave and act exactly I want them to be. Situation should remain exactly what I want. But unfortunately, you are not God. The objects, people, and situation is under not your control. Bhoktaram yagatapasam sarvalokam maheshwaram suhridam gyatva mam shantim richhati. If you want to be peaceful, three things be convinced. She is the enjoyer, Krishna, Bhoktaram yagatapasam. He is the controller and he is the well-wishing friend. That means whatever he does in your life is perfect. If we are convinced about these three things, we can be peaceful. There is no other peace formula. To the extent we are not convinced, we think we are the controller, we are the thing, we, I, me and mine. You have to lament. You have to be in anxiety. You will be in anxiety. Sometimes that anxiety is overcome because things happen the way you want for some time. Eventually everything goes away from your hand. So lamentation. And finally, thinking that there is something higher than the absolute truth. Poor absolute truth. He is also helplessly watching. I took shelter, but he is not doing anything. So these are the 5 types of ignorance. And all of us are covered by that. So that cloud is compared to mode of ignorance. And then thunder. What is that thunder? Ahamamete. I am doing this. I am going to do this. We did this. That's like a thundering voice. Janasya mohoyam. So all the rambling in the bodily conception are the rumbling of the cloud. And why is the lightning compared to the mode of goodness? Because when the lightning comes, even if it's a very dark cloud covering, when the lightning comes, everything is seen for some time. You see things as they are. Even in the deep dark night and cloudy night, absolutely nothing visible. Suddenly when lightning comes, you can see everything is lighted up. At least for a few seconds, milliseconds probably. Satvat sanjayate jnanam. In the mode of goodness, one can immediately see things for what they are. You can see, kya hai, dunya aisa hi hai. Things aren't temporary. Oh, this is a very miserable life. You can see things as they are. Even to accept it takes more of goodness. And so therefore, today when you go out and watch the sky covered by the dark clouds and rumbling sound comes in, lightning, think, it's me, part of the sky, covered by the mode of ignorance, rumbling, like speaking in my own way, thinking I am this, I did this. And sometimes in the mode of goodness you can see. Next he goes further. Amazing lessons. Just one season and so many wonderful lessons. with its rays. The sun had for 8 months drunk up the earth's wealth in the form of water. Now that the proper time had arrived, the sun began releasing this accumulated wealth. What a brilliant analogy, or an understanding of truth. The sun continuously takes the wealth of the earth and wealth of the people in the form of water. The wealth of the earth is water. He keeps sucking from the ocean, from the rivers, from the ponds, from the lakes, from people's body in the form of sweat. Disappears. And it is just like the government which collect taxes. Income tax, sales tax. Now, no problem, only one tax. GST. One time, everything collect. Whatever, throughout or one time. Collection is there. So collection, it collects. And hopefully, if it's a good government, wonderful king, as it used to be in the past, they, at a proper time, when there is a need, people are scorched by the sun and suffering, profusely shower the rain of public welfare. There should be rain. This facility should be created for the public. This should be created. Everyone, sarve janaah sukhino bhavantu. For all the 8 months you paid, now these 4 months enjoy. Profusely giving. A good king is like that. He collects taxes where there is more and then distributes it equally. It is described when Maharaj Dashrath, when he would enter the enemy forces, like a farmer plucking out all the weeds and leaving only the plants which he has planted, like that he would just release all the enemies, completely finish off the enemies, leaving no one around. And when he would decide to give, he would profusely shower like a rain, opening out his storehouse and giving out profusely, so that all the subjects of his kingdom were completely happy, and all the public welfare activities would go on fully to the satisfaction of everyone. So in this way, this is described. And then he goes further. He says, no, next painting. If you're interested, I found out in our stall right now there are 6 copies available. If you want more, it is available in BBT. Go down. You can go. But you can read all the beautiful 48 verses that Srila Prabhupada gave a commentary to. So the third one, flashing with lightning, great clouds were shaken and swept about by fierce winds, just like merciful persons, the clouds gave their lives for the pleasure of this world. I'll try to explain this example. What is the example being given? He says, flashing with lightning. Imagine very huge dark clouds, and then suddenly lightning comes. First lightning comes, and then comes thunder, right? There's lightning, and after that thunders. And after the also along with the thunder, sometimes there is a wind, and that wind moves the clouds everywhere, and the clouds profusely pour the rain till the point the clouds disappear. That's like a profuse rain. So what is it compared to? Like merciful person, very, very rich, and very, very compassionate people. The cloud is compared to very rich, wealthy, and compassionate people. Wealthy could be in wealth, money, and wealthy could be in knowledge. So, the dark clouds containing a lot of water, and that water is compared to life-giving product. Is it knowledge or even wealth? When such people, and the lightning is compared to when they see the suffering of the people due to lack of the thing that they have. When they see, oh, people are suffering so much. The lightning is compared to their sight. And when they see, they start breathing heavily. Just like when you see something, like somebody is suffering. And I remember one time, I was Bombay to Pune, I was going, and somewhere, Lonavala or somewhere, I stopped, Karjat or somewhere. And I was looking through the window, train, and I was kind of eating something, and I saw a train left. And like after train leaves in India, people pass through in the train when the train is stopped, though it is written, at least don't relieve yourself when the train is halted in the station. So like people dirty the whole place, and then the train left. And somebody had eaten like some vada pav or something and put it in a packet and just thrown it down. Half eaten and thrown. So and that beggar came and then looked around and he saw made sure the train is gone, and he got down and he picked it up, opened it, saw just like a bowler cleaning, this bowl like that. He did like this, started eating. And I saw the dabba I had carried. I felt very grateful. इतना तो कम से कम खाने को मिल रहा है भाई. I was once traveling by taxi, and there was a Muslim driver. We were discussing, we were talking something. I keep asking them, I want to see how they see the world. So I keep asking everyone some questions. कैसा चल रहा है? So during the conversation, he told me a sentence that I'll never forget. He said, नींद न जाने टूटा खाट. नींद न जाने टूटा खाट. खाट टूटा है, चलता है. नींद आ गया तो कहीं भी सोएगा आदमी. फुटपाथ के ऊपर सोएगा, फुल ट्रैफिक के बीच में आराम से खर्राटे मार के. नींद न जाने टूटा खाट, भूख न जाने बासी भात, प्रेम न जाने जात को जात. ये प्रेम वो प्रेम नहीं है, कृष्ण प्रेम नहीं है. When you are infatuated, you don't see the color, you don't see the nothing. Interesting point. So, when people who are wealthy and who are compassionate, when they glance and see the sufferings of the people, naturally their heart is filled, and therefore they breathe out heavy, distressful sighs. And then profusely they start showering till practically they exhaust their wealth. Prabhupada was like that. All the great personalities are like that. Sitting in Vrindavan, comfortable for him, going back home back to Godhead at the lotus feet of Rupa Goswami's place. But when he would hear from the newspaper or see people around, hear people suffering, he was heaving big sigh and says, how will things happen? And he traveled all over the world to bring Vrindavan to the world and bring the world to Vrindavan. Both. He took Vrindavan to the world. He said, my temples are in Vaikuntha. To the extent we follow Srila Prabhupada's instructions properly, in proper attitude and spirit, to that extent, even though this place is in Mumbai, ISKCON Chowpatty, 7 km Munshi Marg, it is not in the material world. To the extent, if you come here with a proper attitude, with a proper consciousness, to take the advantage of what the gift he has given, devotional service to the Supreme Lord. Golokera Premadhana Harinam Sankirtan. He brought it, and when he saw people deprived of it, he distributed it profusely. So he gave Vrindavan wherever he went, and he inspired people to understand the glories of Vrindavan. That's the contribution. Mahaprabhu said, Etavat janma safalyam dehinam ihadevishu pranair arthair dhiya vacha shreya acharanam sada. Especially in India. By default, if you are born in India, by default you have two responsibilities, whether you like it or not. Otherwise, don't call yourself Indians. By default, as soon as you say, born in India, made in India, two responsibilities. Janma sarthaka kari. Bharat bhumite manusha janma. Cats and dogs, no responsibilities. Human being, two responsibilities. Janma sarthaka kari. Sa arthaka. Arthaka means meaning. Sa arthaka. Make your life meaningful, fulfilling, purposeful. Achieve the sartha, artha, purushartha. There are four purusharthas. Dharma, artha, kama, moksha. But the highest is prema, pumartho, mahan. Human life in India means you have to get love of God. If you don't, dharma sonushtita pumsam vishwaksena kathasuyah na utpadayed yadiratim shramaeva hi kevalam. One village boy came to Bombay from south and to do some work of the father, he has to get sanctioned, some Maharashtra village, to sanction some village, get the thing done in the capital, Mumbai. Stayed here for a few days and went back. And the father asked, Beta, kahan gaya tha? I went to Nariman Point. I went to Chowpatty. I went to this, I went to this. Kya kiya? Ye bhi kiya, udhar khaya, belpuri khaya. अच्छा, very good. ठीक है. और जिसलिए गया था वो एक चीज भूल गया. I forgot that one thing that you had told me. I did everything else. So what is the use? Eating, sleeping, mating, defending, animals do better than us. Human life, only one thing. Self-realization, God realization. If you didn't do that, waste. Especially having born in India. Janma sa arthaka kari. Make it meaningful. And meaning is when you get real truth. And the Bhagavad describes Krishna to be really real. Have you ever heard this? Really real. There is something falsely real or really false. That is Maya. It looks real, but it is not real because it's not going to last long. Really real are three things. The Lord is really real. The soul is really real. And the relationship of the Lord with the living entity. Mamayvamsho jivaloke jivabhuta sanatana. The Sanatana Jiva has a Sanatana relationship with the Sanatana Lord in the Sanatana sky. To be reconstituted there is Sanatana Dharma. That is Sanatana, that is really real. That will never go away. Except for that, anything else is a waste of time. That doesn't mean you should neglect it. All of that should be dovetailed in such a way that it helps you to move towards this goal. That's what Sanatana Dharma is, that's what Varnashram Dharma is meant for. Varnashram Dharma, just like signal. What is the purpose of traffic signal? So that having started your journey, you reach your destination safely, quickly. Isn't it? If you want to reach quickly and you want to reach safely, you have to follow the traffic rules. Suppose early morning a person leaves a place. After whole day traveling, following all the rules without breaking any traffic lights, in the end of the day comes back to the same place where he started and says, एक भी सिग्नल नहीं तोड़ा. तो खा किया तूने, पहुंचा नहीं ना, जहां से निकला था वहीं आके पड़ गया तो. The purpose of signal is to reach your destination quickly and safely. The purpose of varnashram dharma, dharma su anushtitah. You follow. Brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha, sannyas, brahmana, kshatriya, whatever you are, you follow that. But it is just to facilitate you so that peacefully, happily, you can move towards your destination, which is self-realization. Antakale chamameva smaran muktva kalevaram. So that is very important. Sa arthaka kari, and then it is said kara para upakar. You have to give. You have to give back. To live in this world, you are taking from so many people. Taking from parents, taking from society, taking from other living entities, taking from natural resources. Every time you breathe, you are taking so much from the world. And before leaving back, if you don't give back, then you are a burden. We say, na, once earth was burdened. Why was earth burdened? कुछ burden नहीं है earth को. तेरे जैसे लाखों को पकड़ के रखती हो. तू तो कुछ भी नहीं है. ज्यादा से ज्यादा कितना 60-80 किलो है क्या? चल 120. What is a burden to Mother Earth? 120 kilo. She has mountains, oceans, huge buildings. That's not a burden. Why does few individuals, human beings only, elephants don't become burden? Why ant-like human beings become burden to Mother Earth? Very simple. She's Bhudevi. She's the mother. And the Lord is the father. Varahadev. He's the father. And we are all the children. When children go against the father, take the wealth of the mother, grab the mother's wealth, and disobey the father, deride the father, blaspheme the father, and want to even enjoy the mother, then the mother feels burdened. For her, it's not a burden. Children are not burden. Very happy. But those who go against, they become a burden. Few antisocial elements start using the chemicals and make a bomb and throw somewhere. Can you imagine how much a burden to the... Just because few terrorists do something, how much burden to the whole government? Everywhere security, including temple. I come, and that fellow says, अरे यार मैं इधर ही रहता हूँ. नहीं, फिर भी साहब आपको बोला गया है. अरे यार मैं अपने घर में थोड़ी बॉम्ब डालूं. नहीं नहीं, आपको करना ही पड़ेगा, चेक करना. So much burden. We have to appoint every housing society security, airport security. Earlier, I remember, I had gone with my brother till the plane. You have to sometimes even climb the plane and sit him, make him sit down. Things are better, na? Then we used to go back. Airports were like that. We could go till there, make them climb. If you see Prabhupada's video, Prabhupada came down and all the people are standing in that under the staircase there to receive Prabhupada, garland Prabhupada. It was allowed. Today, 2 kilometers away, idhar hi bang karo. वो भी security check, वो भी security check. So much of money being spent just because few people did something that is not to be done. How much burden to the government, financially, energy-wise. So, kara para upakar. We have to do some relief that. And that is especially born in India. Bharat bhumite manusya janma hoila ja. Pranair, give your life. प्राण तो नहीं दे सकता. क्यों? प्राणेश्वरी को दे दिया. अर्थैर, पैसा तो दो भाई. पैसा नहीं. जस्ट टू मेक द टू एंड्स मीट. कहाँ महाराज, खाने पीने के लिए होता है. बम्बई में क्या होता है? ठीक है. प्राणायाम नहीं दे सकते. अर्थ है धिया, यूज योर इंटेलिजेंस टू लर्न दिस फिलॉसफी एंड शेयर विद अदर्स. टाइम नहीं है पढ़ने के लिए और दिमाग नहीं है समझने के लिए. सो वाचा, वाचा मीन्स नॉट मराठी वाचा. संस्कृत वाचा. यू डोंट नो, एटलीस्ट टेल अदर्स. तुमको भगवान के बारे में जानना है ना, एक काम, मैं एड्रेस देता हूं, उधर जा तू, मेरे को मत पूछ, दिमाग मत खा मेरा, उधर जा. वहां तेरे को जिसको भी प्रश्न पूछेगा पूरा समझ में आ जाए. There is one person who had come to this place. He goes for jogging in Dadar, Fire Garden. And whoever he jogs with, he tells them, Sunday यहाँ Sunday विश प्रोग्राम होता है, वहाँ जाना. राधा गोपीनाथ मंदिर बोल के भारतीय विद्या भवन के पास में. Many people have come, they have joined, they have become brahmacharis. He never comes, he still jogs. वाचा, प्राण कहीं हो गया है, अर्थ कहीं और है, धिया कहीं और है. एक चीज वाचा, तिथे जा तुम्ही. खूप चांगला प्रोग्राम होतो तिथे. प्रोग्राम पण सोडा, प्रसाद चांगला. It doesn't matter. Pranair, arthair, dhiya, vacha. But shreya acharanam. Give the best that you can. Whatever best you have, that's love. When you love the best that you have, you want to give. Because there's an art of giving. And in this way they distribute. Then, there's another, so many wonderful lessons. In the next verse he says, the earth had been emaciated. Emaciated means, become shriveled up. Sukh gaya tha. The earth had been emaciated by the summer heat. But she became fully nourished again when moistened by the god of rain. Thus the earth was like a person whose body had been emaciated by austerities undergone for a material purpose, but who again becomes fully nourished when he achieves the fruit of those austerities. What an amazing example. Especially if you go to, on the way towards either Bombay, Pune is Lonavala side, or this side, other Ghat section is Nasik side, you go. Kasara Ghat. If you go during summer, pura black or brown. And you go now, after few rains, by end of June or beginning of July or August, September. Wow, so green. You feel like settling down here permanently. वहाँ ऊपर में एक घर बना के वहीं रहना चाहता हूँ. क्या जगह है. What an example. And what is the analogy given? Somebody wants to get some benefit, so they start doing vrata, japa and tapa. And they stop eating, they do tremendous tapasya. And if you see sometimes, tapasvi wahan baitha tha, if you see Hiranyakashipu's tapasya, only bone and skin. Sometimes people become like that, they ask, tapasya kar raha hai kya? Chaturmas chal raha hai. So, tremendous tapasya. So, earth becomes like that, completely shriveled up. All the foliage, dried up, the trees, the mountain is looking bare. And suddenly with the first few rains, everything looked, wow, beautiful, greenery, and looked very healthy and strong. So similarly, when people who do austerity for some material benefits, kama with a desire, I want this, I want this, I want that. They do tapasya. And when they do tapasya, they become shriveled up. And suddenly when a particular devata, whomever Ishtadev they are worshipping, that person gives the benediction, suddenly they become extremely strong, powerful. There is another side to it also. That is not going to last long. Only for 2 months or maximum 4 months. Again you go, again it is like that. So kamais taise hritagyana prapadyante anya devata. Like Hiranyakashipu. What a tapasya. The demoniac way of doing tapasya is they will do much stronger tapasya than even devotees. Devotee क्या करता है ज्यादा से ज्यादा जप करता है बस. कौन सा तपस्या? 4 नियम, कौन सा बड़ा नियम है, ठीक है ना, वो तो मनुष्य बनने के लिए है. That's not a big deal. Look at the Hiranyakashipu's tapasya. Standing on the toes, raising your hands, raising your eyeballs. It is not seen, totally white. The eyeballs are gone up. And raising your hands, and standing on your toes. And not try to stand like this, let me see, till their pravachan. Not possible. He stood for 100 celestial years. Can you imagine? He didn't eat anything. Even if mosquito bites, he didn't scratch. He didn't smash it. He didn't drink anything. He didn't eat anything. He kept his air inside the bones. In fact, the ant hill was growing. Not ants, ant hill was growing. And it covered, and still he would not. And they were eating away his skin, muscles. Still he did not move. What a tapasya! Usunda, Upasunda. These two are powerful people. In Mahabharata this comes. Naradji tells to Pandavas in regard to getting married to Draupadi. He said, hey, Sunda, Upasunda jaisa mat karna. Niyam banao usko, baant ke log, jo bhi khana hai. And then he tells about Sunda. Sunda and Upasunda, they did tapasya. At that time, the demigods were scared. Arey baap re, itna tapasya, inko power mil jayega to halat ho jayega. So they tried to do so much. They sent some beautiful women. Indra gets bewildered. But Sunda Upasunda did not get bewildered. They saw. Sunda ne Upasunda ko bola, kaun hai malum, main ka aankh band kar le. Then they brought their family members. Maya, through Maya, the demigods created their family members, their sisters, their wives, their mother, and they were killing them and trying to cut their head off. Still nothing. And they were crying. Their wives were crying, their sisters were crying. Still, absolutely unmoved. Brahma ji came and gave them the benediction. क्या? मरना नहीं. अरे तुम लोगों का यार कुछ भी बोलो, ये मरना नहीं, मैं भी मरने वाला हूं, उसको छोड़ के कुछ और मांगो. ठीक है, मरेंगे तो एक दूसरे के हाथ से मरेंगे. They were like twins. They were twins, but they were like, even in their thought process, they were absolutely alike. Whatever they think, he would look at them as if it's the same body and two heads. So one heart. They were so confident, they said, we will not die. If we kill each other, then let us die, no problem. They had so confidence in each other. And in this way, as soon as they got the benediction, immediately they said, चल compensate करेंगे, इतना दिन कुछ खाया नहीं, पिया नहीं. They went and all that they did not do during the fasting period, they fully compensated for it. And they indulged themselves fully. Like the rainy season. Rainy season, everything becomes green. How long? 4 months. After that, you go again, everything is finished. This is not intelligence. Tapo divyam putraka yena sattvam shuddhi yasmat brahma. Therefore, Rishabdev says, hey, human life is meant for tapasya, not this type of temporary tapasya. You should do tapasya which is purifying your existence. Not a big deal actually. Hearing, chanting, this Davada Bhakti is also tapasya. Coming here and sitting here is tapasya. But this tapasya is very purifying and the results are eternal, eternally green, evergreen. Yad gatva ananivartante tad dhama paramam mama. So, when he sees that kind of greenery, an intelligent man is not attracted by greenery to go and settle there. Because if he settles, by the time the house is constructed, the season is gone. And everything dries up. Then he says, lock, stock, barrel, chalo, wapas chalo. We don't want that kind of tapasya. Then, another very interesting. In the evening twilight, during the rainy season, the darkness allowed the glowworms, but not the stars to shine forth. Just as in the age of Kali, the predominance of sinful activities allows atheistic doctrines to overshadow the true knowledge of the Vedas. What a nice example. I don't know how many of you have ever gone out of Mumbai to some villages during rainy season where there is actually no electricity. How many of you have gone? Please raise your hand. Hi. Hare Krishna. I thought somebody is telling their experience of going to a forest. So, I had a good fortune of visiting Vada sometime. I mean, even otherwise I've gone to many other places, but recently, regarding this example, we went to Vada, and night after before all this current developments have come about. When we went, it was just a village, and there was one little goshala and one little hut. That's all. And we went there. All our CSB retreat, we used to go there. We used to take prasad around 8 o'clock at night, 8 p.m. And at night, we used to go for a walk in that big road, empty road, and completely dark, except and even the skyline. In Mumbai, even the skyline is glowing because of light. But there, nothing. And that was a rainy day. And there was dark cloud. And we specifically didn't carry any torch because, we didn't want light. So I say experiencing this. So we were walking on the road. And suddenly, far away, we saw a tree which was literally like a Christmas tree almost, glowing like anything. Beautifully glowing. Very attractive. And we went near the tree. We saw literally lakhs of glowworms. क्या बोलते हैं glowworm? Jugnu. Lakhs of them covering the tree, like small bulbs, ting, 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 glowing and dropping, glowing and going like that. Literally lakhs of them on one tree. I don't know why only that tree, but they were covering like that. And we tried to take a photograph, but not much would come. I don't know why. Light was not enough probably. But it was glowing like anything, so pleasing to the eyes. Why? Because it was totally dark, totally pitch dark. And because nothing was visible, even a small glowworm, when it gives out a little light, we feel, wow, look at that. क्या चमक रहा है देखो उधर. Imagine if the sun was to rise then. You won't even recognize one of them. So, similarly, in the age of Kali, when the light of the Bhagavat is not there, Krishna Sodhama Pagate Dharma Jnana Divi, when the sun sets of the Bhagavat, that knowledge is like light. Krishna Surya Sama, Maya hai Andhakar. So when Krishna consciousness philosophy is not there, at that time, anyone speaks any bit of morality or concocted some kind of spirituality, it becomes so attractive. Wow, क्या बोला, क्या philosophy है, वो भगवान है, ऐसा करता है तो तुरंत तुम्हारी इच्छा पूर्ण हो जाती है. उसको सिर्फ थोड़ा डोनेशन देना पड़ता है, कर देता. One professor, he's a professor in some college, PhD scholar. He told me, I was talking to him, he was going Bombay, Pune travel. I did I used to travel for a long time. Lot of self-realization came during that visits, or even sometimes in local trains, you get realization. So this professor, I was doing book distribution. So I asked this professor, he said, no, I'm going to visit my guru. I said, oh, cha. Then he told his guru's name. Then he said, he stays at that particular place. I visit once in a year. Therefore I go. I said, very good. What is his teaching? Teaching? You don't know about that person? Well, no, I don't know. Tell him what is his teachings are. Not teaching. I will tell you his miracle, what he can do. Cha. He said, I have a mango tree in my house. For last 4 years, it has never given fruits. Last year I went during Guru Purnima and I saw him. And he smiled at me. This year, the mango tree is having full of fruits. He was serious. He was very serious. And I was thinking, how do you know it is his smile which has given this fruit? And even if it is that what gurus are meant for? The fertilizer company owner is a better guru. He will give guaranteed result. Just see, na? Just see how people can get distracted from the absolute truth, from glowworm-like kind of benefits. When the sun is shining, when the sun shines, none of this. If you understand what is the glory of Srimad Bhagavatam, then you will not be attracted by these kind of puny things. So that's what he's telling. In the evening twilight during the rainy season, the darkness allowed the glowworms, but the moon and the stars were covered. Because it was covered, the moon is shining, and on a moonlit night it is so beautiful. The moon and the stars were covered, just as in the age of Kali, the predominance of sinful activities allow atheistic doctrines to overshadow the true knowledge of the Vedas. There are people who claim themselves to be God. And they say they themselves engage in all kinds of activities in terms of eating habits, in terms of other sense gratificatory activity. They have no rules and regulations. And if you become their follower, you don't have to follow any rule. It is so nice, isn't it? You don't have to follow any rule, but you have a halo around your head that you have belonged to a spiritual organization. The people like it. Andha yathandhi upaniyamana. They are blind, you are blind, both fall into the ditch. So therefore, in Kali Yuga, we see there are so many so-called organizations. One organization, I don't want to name it, but they say God cannot descend on this earth. Why? God यहाँ इस दुनिया में क्यों आएगा? क्यों नहीं आ सकता? He can't come. If he comes, he's not God. I was thinking in my mind, तेरा बाप का है जगह यहाँ. Sorry for using Mumbaiya language, but I was just thinking in my mind. I didn't say it. So why can't he come here? Arey, it is his property. Maya Adhyaksha. Yes. Hey, I am not asking what is in the Bhagavatam. I am asking, what do you think? If you know this, don't tell me. Yeah. What gets activated? So-called friends becomes activated. Very interesting. During rains.
During your rainy season means some prosperity.
हाँ, जब तुम्हारे when money talks, everyone walks. There's a beautiful verse. You understand what he's telling? जब पैसा आ गया तो टर 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 बहुत सारे चारों ओर आए. यस्यार्थः अर्थ मीन्स मनी. यस्यार्थः तस्य मित्राणि. अरे यार दोस्त, बहुत दिन से देखे नहीं तुझे. हाँ, अभी याद आया तुझे. यस्यार्थः तस्य मित्राणि, यस्यार्थः तस्य बांधवाः. आपको मालूम है, चाचा जी हम लोग मिले थे. आपके भाई के पोता का तीसरे लड़के का बेटा है भाई. थोड़ा सेल्फी ले लेते हैं हम लोग, साथ में सेल्फी ले लेते हैं. याद रहेगा ना, मैं आपको भेजता रहूंगा बीच बीच में, मैं कौन हूं आपको याद रहेगा. यस्यार्थः तस्य बांधवाः, यस्यार्थः स पुमान लोके. पुमान मीन्स ही इज द ही मैन, सुपरमैन. कैसा भी दिखे हो, 4 साल पहले जैसा भी दिखता था, आज वो कितना सुंदर लगने लगा. आहा. यस्यार्थः सच पंडितः. अगर पैसा है वो बोलेगा 2 और 2 4 नहीं 5. 5 करेक्ट. क्यों? आप बोल रहे हैं ना. नहीं 5 नहीं 6. ऐसा कैसा? अभी तो 5 बोला था. अरे 5 हो या 6 हो, आप जो बोलोगे, क्योंकि वो नहीं बोल रहा, आप बोल रहे तो मैं चल रहा. इट्स ए फैक्ट. थैंक यू. Anyone else? And then I will tell what Shukadeva Goswami says. Yeah? Everyone is scared. They may be exposed. What is in their consciousness. Anyway, let me see what Shukadeva Goswami, let us see what he says. Same way that Brahmana students who perform their morning duties in silence begin reciting their lessons when called by their teacher. This is very, very clearly understandable in the new Brahmachari ashram. Nobody wants to get up in the morning. In many temples, there is a bell they take. Tang, 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 tang. Everyone has to get up. And then everyone gets up. And then start. Samsara davanalani. Otherwise they are sleeping. So, when the rumbling of the cloud comes and profuse rain comes, suddenly there is life that comes. Even the frogs who were sleeping, practically dead, kuch nahi. Suddenly enthusiasm comes. Everyone is going on. And there is like a orchestra going on. Isn't it? So, when a guru wakes up in the early morning in the ashram, then suddenly everyone starts Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Till then everyone is sleeping. Or Prabhupada also explains, when a powerful acharya comes, like Lord Chaitanya said, Jiva jago, Gaur Chandra bole, Kota nidra jayo maya pishachi. We are all sleeping on the lap of Maya. But a powerful acharya comes and travels around the globe and rumbling the message of the absolute truth. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare. Wherever you go all over the world, any ISKCON center you enter, you hear it is so familiar. You suddenly are awakened. Imagine when Prabhupada went to the West, many of the churches totally empty because no one would come. Therefore, they were selling it. So the devotees purchased, the building were available very cheaply, big places. And as soon as he started preaching there, those places become packed. And the people who sold it were shocked and surprised. And all of them were young people. They couldn't believe who had been rejected by their own society, so-called hippies. They started coming, suddenly started chanting, glorifying the Lord, together glorifying the Sankirtan movement. Chanting on the roads, Hare Krishna, dancing like a frog, suddenly. So similarly, we see, even us, we were like sleeping souls. But just a powerful acharya comes by the Lord's mercy, and we say, Praptasya kalyana gunarnavasya vande guru shri charanaravindam. Samsara davanala leadhaloka. Everyone was dry, suffering, miserable, full of anxiety. Then Praptasya kalyana guna arnava. From the ocean of Sindhu, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, gathering that, from the ocean it becomes cloud, The Krishna sun takes that and makes into clouds. Clouds are like powerful acharyas. They come and shower the rain of their mercy of Krishna consciousness. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Padasevanam. And immediately we are like that. Suddenly start croaking and suddenly become activated. Our whole things become activated. So one is a negative thing that you can learn what not to do. Another thing is to actually see that. How fortunate we are. It is because of such a powerful cloud where he mercifully came and showered their mercy in the form of his personal example, his words, his books, his followers, his beautiful temples, his message. And today, just by seeing that, receiving that, we can also become activated. In this way, so many wonderful... I'll just conclude with one more. I liked it very much. It's very strong in my heart. I thought of speaking, but we'll have time. But that's also inspiration for you to go and read this book. Light of the Bhagavad. If copies are not there, place an order. Next week you will get. I'll just conclude with this. In this example, it says, when the clouds come in the rainy season and hit the mountain, profusely it hits the mountain, and thunderstorms come, just pours down, and after the rain goes, you see the mountain is still there. In fact, the mountain has become more effulgent, cleansed. Similarly, those great devotees of the Lord who are steadily practicing Krishna consciousness, the storms will come in their lives. Difficulties will come. That's the nature of this world. Duality is the nature of the world. You can't have one side without the other side of the coin. There's cold, there is heat. There's happiness, there is distress. Honor, there is dishonor. That's the duality, nature of this world. So it comes, and when it comes, very intense situation comes, and but if you remain tattvaenu kampam sushamiksamano, seeing Krishna's mercy in any situation, like a rock steady, and then during such situations, if we take proper shelter of the absolute truth, our conviction in the mercy of the Lord, our faith and the power of that shelter becomes so deep rooted, like a mountain. It only helps us to cleanse it. The storm, initially the storm is there, nothing is visible, the mountain is also not visible, it's raining so much. But let the rain stops, and then you see, let the storms go away, then you see the mountain shining brilliantly, better than ever before. So devotees of the Lord, for them this kind of a rainstorm in their lives, it will come to everyone, sometime or the other, to some extent or the other, to some degree or some duration, it will come. But when it comes, if we take shelter, remain steady like a mountain, then it only helps us to increase our devotion to the Lord, increase our faith, taking shelter, and it purifies us, and Krishna uses that situation to glorify such exalted personalities in the eyes of the whole world. So I think I'll conclude here. Thank you very much. I just thought, since it's rainy season, hear about rain season in Vrindavan and Srila Shukadeva Goswami's perspective, so that now after Kirtan, when you go out, in case if it rains and you see black clouds and the lightning and the shower, think of something, what we have discussed. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Nitai Gaur Premanandi Hare.